everybody, welcome back to another video, and today I want to take a look at the NHL trade deadline. Now this is a day late, but yesterday was my Sunday, so I usually take Sundays off, but now my Sundays are your Saturdays, and my Mondays are your Sundays. So I'm taking my Sundays off, your Saturdays. It's a whole thing, whatever, but this is, I'm going to just talk about the trade deadline now. I have not watched much hockey this year. I kind of go in cycles through what I'm really paying attention to. This year I've been paying a lot more attention to the NBA. I was watching the NFL more closely this year. And now, after moving, I'm starting to get into rugby a little bit, so I haven't watched a ton of hockey this year, so I'm probably not going to have a ton of opinions on a lot of these draft moves. So I think what I'm going to do is, anything I do have a little bit of an opinion on, I'll mention it, but for the most part, I'm just going to list out the moves, and then I have some websites I'm going to look at, and they're kind of tracking the winners and losers of the trade deadline, right? So let's start here, and I'm going to start with this January 30th trade. I think starting before that's kind of just going a little bit too far back, but January 30th, the New York Islanders acquire forward Bo Horvat from the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for forwards Anthony Beauvillier and Atu Roddy, and a conditional first-round pick in the 2023 NHL draft. The Canucks just in a weird spot after firing Bruce Boudreau. Now they get rid of their captain. Anthony Beauvillier, I don't know too much about, but Atu Roddy, he was a prospect in last year's draft that I was actually pretty high on. I kind of wanted Vegas to take Atu Roddy, to be honest. I'm not sure how he's looked this year, if he's even played in the league, or if he's been an AHL guy, or playing a different league or whatever, but potentially some offside there, and then the conditional pick. Doesn't say what the conditions are, but Bo Horvat to the Islanders. And I think he's been pretty decent for the Isles since he's gotten there. I've seen him score a few goals, especially against their first game against the Canucks. I think he had 2 goals, maybe even a hat trick, I'm not sure. February 5th, Seattle Kraken acquired defenseman Jacob Magna from San Jose Sharks in exchange for a 4th-round pick in the 2023 NHL draft. February 9th, the New York Rangers acquire forward Vladimir Tarasenko and defenseman Nico Mikula from St. Louis Blues in exchange for forward Sammy Blais, defenseman Hunter Skinner, and conditional draft picks. This one's weird to me because it feels like Tarasenko is worth a lot more than that. I'm going to look at his stat unless he's had a down season. What are his stats this season? Tarasenko this season has 14 goals and 24 assists, 38 points. Sammy Blais has 2 goals, 6 assists for 8 points. So Hunter Skinner better be something, I guess. Hunter Skinner. Hunter Skinner has he not even played a season? He's 21 years old. Drafted in the 4th round in 2019 draft. Is he an AHL player? Springfield Thunderbirds in the AHL, 0 goals, 3 assists. Why would St. Louis make this trade? If you guys know why St. Louis would make that trade, because they basically gave up one of their best goal scorers for nothing. That feels like a complete fleecing by the Rangers. Big trade here. This one was pretty crazy because I think the first game he played for the Leafs, I think it might have been the first, maybe the second game, he got the hat trick. Maple Leafs acquire forwards Ryan O'Reilly, Noel Achari, and the rights to forward Josh Pilar in a 3-team deal with St. Louis Blues and Minnesota Wild. Blues acquire Mikhail Abramov, Adam Gaudette, a first-round pick in the 2023 draft from Toronto, and a third-round pick in the 2023 draft from Ottawa. They also get a second-round pick in the 2024 NHL draft from Toronto, and the Wild acquire a fourth-round pick in the 2025 NHL draft from Toronto. Yeah, see, that's crazy to me because Ryan O'Reilly is not better than Tarasenko. Like, you ask pretty much anybody, Tarasenko's the better player, and Toronto gave up way more to get him than New York gave up to get Tarasenko. Makes that, I don't know, even weirder, I don't know. February 19th, the New York Rangers acquire forward Tyler Mont from the Ottawa Senators in exchange for forward Julien Gauthier and a conditional 7th-round pick in the 2023 NHL Draft. February 22nd, the Arizona Coyotes acquired defenseman Shea Weber and a 5th-round pick in the 2023 NHL Draft from the Vegas Golden Knights in exchange for defenseman Dyson Mayo. So basically Vegas gets Shea Weber's contract off the books because Mark Stone is now back on LTIR. I personally don't think Mark Stone is ever going to play hockey again. It kind of looks like his career is done. But this looked like Vegas was opening up cap space to make a big move. But spoiler alert, we didn't make a big move. And honestly, I feel like Golden Knights are one of the losers of the trade deadline. February 22nd, the Chicago Blackhawks acquired defenseman Nikita Zaitsev and a 2nd-round pick in the 2023 NHL Draft and a 4th-round pick in the 2026 NHL Draft from the Ottawa Senators in exchange for future considerations. So maybe just a cap dump there, I'm not sure. February 23rd, Anaheim Ducks acquire forward Josiah Slavin from the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for forward Hunter Drew. February 23rd, the Boston Bruins acquired defenseman Dmitry Orlov and forward Garnet Hathaway from the Washington Capitals in a 3-team trade that also included the Minnesota Wild. Bruins also acquired forward prospect Andrei Svetlikov from the Wild, and Capitals acquired forward Craig Smith, a 1st-round pick in the 2023 NHL Draft, 3rd-round pick in the 2024 NHL Draft, and a 2nd-round pick in the 2025 NHL Draft. The Wild acquired a 5th-round pick in the 2023 NHL Draft from the Bruins. So that's like 2 times now that the Wild have played middleman in a trade. That's kind of interesting. Okay. February 25th, the Colorado Avalanche acquired goaltender Keith Kincaid from the Boston Bruins in exchange for forward Shane Bowers. Kinda did. Colorado, did they have in goal? They must have gotten injured or something and they needed goalie depth, I'm not sure. February 25th, Vancouver Canucks acquire forward Vitaly Kravtsov from the New York Rangers in exchange for forward William Lockwood and a 7th-round pick in the 2026 NHL Draft. February 25th, the Winnipeg Jets acquire forward Nino Niederreiter from the Nashville Predators in exchange for a 2nd-round pick in the 2024 NHL Draft. February 26th, Dallas Stars acquire forward Evgeny Dadonov from the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for Denis Gurianov. I didn't even realize Evgeny Dadonov was in Montreal. He must have. Hold on, did he get traded to Montreal? I'd like it when Evgeny Dadonov. Yeah, because he was with the Stars. I thought he was a Dallas Star. Evgeny Dadonov. Panthers. They went back to Russia for a little bit. Panthers, Sens, Golden Knights, Canadians. Now he's with the Stars. Yeah, because they traded him. Wait, yeah, I thought he was with the Panthers. I forgot they even played for Vegas 43. Oh yeah, he's the guy we tried to trade to Anaheim, but we didn't, there was an issue with the no trade list or something. That's right. I don't know who I was thinking of. February 26th, the Vegas Golden Knights acquire forward Ivan Barbashev from the St. Louis Blues in exchange for forward Zach Dean. Barbashev's just like a middle six guy, kind of a physical presence, but we've been having to play him on our top line because of all the injuries we had this season. Like William Carrier's now after the season as well, but he did get his first goal for us the last game, so that's pretty nice. Against the Devils? I don't remember. February 26th, the Colorado Avalanche acquired defenseman Jack Johnson from the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for defenseman Andreas England. Now here we have the Timo Meier trade. The Timo Meier trade, this is what people thought Vegas was opening up that cap space for when they traded Shea Weber and then putting Mark Stone in LTIR, because it was said that Timo Meier basically was down to either the Devils or Vegas, but he said that he would only sign a long-term extension in Vegas, so people thought that you'd come to the Golden Knights and we'd extend him, and that's why we opened up the cap space, because it said that he wanted a long-term deal at around $9 million a year, so we made the cap for that, but ended up going to the Devils instead, which honestly was pretty frustrating. New Jersey Devils acquire forwards Timo Meier and Timur Ibrahimov, defenseman Scott Harrington and Santeri Taka, goalie Zachary Emmond, and a 5th-round pick in the 2024 NHL draft from the San Jose Sharks. In exchange for forwards Fabian Zetterlund and Andreas Janssen, defenseman Shakir Mukhamadullin and Nikita Akadiak, and a conditional 1st-round pick in the 2023 NHL draft, a conditional 2nd-round pick in the 2024 NHL draft, and a 7th-round pick in the 2024 draft. I do feel like we could have beaten that offer, but I feel like the Sharks probably did not want to trade to us. February 26th, the Tampa Bay Lightning acquire forward Tanner Jeannot from the Nashville Predators in exchange for defenseman Gal Foote, a conditional 1st-round pick in the 2025 NHL draft, a 2nd-round pick in the 2024 NHL draft, and a 3rd, 4th, and 5th-round pick in the 2023 NHL draft. This was a trade that a lot of people were upset about. People were pretty much in consensus that Tampa overpaid for Jeannot and kind of screwed over the trade market for every other team at the deadline. That's weird. You kind of screwed over the market for every other team at the deadline. February 26th, the Nashville Predators acquire forwards Isaac Ratcliffe from the Philadelphia Flyers in exchange for future considerations. On the 27th, the Toronto Maple Leafs acquired defenseman Jake McCabe, forward Sam Lafferty, a conditional 5th-round pick in the 2024 draft, and a conditional 5th-round pick in the 2025 draft. From the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for forward Joey Anderson, forward Pavel Gogolev, a conditional 1st-round pick in the 2025 NHL draft, and a 2nd-round pick in the 2026 NHL draft. February 27th, the Buffalo Sabres acquired defenseman Riley Stillman from the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for forward Josh Bloom. February 28th, the Carolina Hurricanes acquire forward Jesse Puljujarvi from the Edmonton Oilers in exchange for the rights to unsigned draft choice forward Patrick Pistola. February 28th, the San Jose Sharks acquire the rights to an unsigned draft choice defenseman Henry Thrun from the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for a 3rd-round pick in the 2024 draft. Also, a lot of trades coming in here on February 28th. Minnesota Wild acquire forward Marcus Johansson from the Washington Capitals in exchange for a 3rd-round pick in the 2024 draft. The Washington Capitals acquire defenseman Rasmus Sandin from the Toronto Maple Leafs in exchange for defenseman Eric Gustafsson and a first-round pick in the 2023 NHL Draft. February 28th, the New York Islanders acquire forward Pierre Engvall from the Toronto Maple Leafs in exchange for a third-round pick in the 2024 Draft. Toronto Maple Leafs acquired defenseman Luke Schenn from the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for a third-round pick in the 2023 Draft. So Luke Schenn goes back to Toronto. Nashville Predators acquire forward Austin Rushoff from the New York Rangers in exchange for future considerations. Edmonton Oilers acquired defenseman Matthias Ekholm and a sixth-round pick in the 2024 Draft from the Nashville Predators in exchange for defenseman Dyson Barrie, forward Reed Schaefer, a first-round pick in the 2023 Draft, and a fourth-round pick in the 2024 Draft. Minnesota Wild acquired Gustav Nyquist from the Columbus Blue Jackets in exchange for a fifth-round pick in the 2023 Draft. The New York Rangers acquire forward Patrick Kane and defenseman Cooper Zek from the Chicago Blackhawks. In a three-team trade that also included the Arizona Coyotes, the Blackhawks received defenseman Andy Welinski, a conditional second-round pick in the 2023 Draft, and a fourth-round pick in the 2025 Draft from the Rangers, and defenseman Vili Yarvi from the Coyotes. The Coyotes acquired a third-round pick in the 2025 Draft. That was the really big news, the Kane trade, which everybody had kind of been waiting for all season, but he was being very picky with where he wanted to go. I was hoping we'd be in the running for Kane, but he eventually turns his sight to the Rangers, and honestly, it feels like the Rangers basically have an all-star team at this point. I imagine they probably have to be the favorites for the Cup at this point. Let's see, Stanley Cup odds. Updated Stanley Cup odds following the trade deadline. Wow, the Rangers are fifth. That's actually crazy to me. They have the Bruins at first. Like, the Bruins have been good, but I don't know. You have a team that adds Patrick Kane and Vladimir Tarasenko, and you don't think that they're now the favorite, especially after how good they were without them. Columbus Blue Jackets acquire Jonathan Quick, a conditional first-round pick in the 2023 Draft and a third-round pick in the 2024 Draft from the Los Angeles Kings in exchange for defensemen Vladislav Gavrikov and goalie Jonas Korpisalo. March 1st, the Colorado Avalanche acquire forward Lars Eller from the Washington Capitals in exchange for a second-round pick in the 2025 Draft. Carolina Hurricanes acquire defenseman Shane Gostisbehere from the Arizona Coyotes in exchange for a third-round pick in the 2026 Draft. The Vancouver Canucks acquire defenseman Philip Hronek and a fourth-round pick in the 2023 Draft from the Detroit Red Wings in exchange for a conditional first-round pick in the 2023 Draft and a second-round pick in the 2023 Draft. March 1st, the Ottawa Senators acquired defenseman Jacob Chychrun from the Arizona Coyotes in exchange for a first-round pick in the 2023 Draft, a second-round pick in the 2024 Draft, and a second-round pick in the 2026 Draft. We're almost done, I promise. I think this has been dragging on forever. We're already at 18 minutes. March 1st, the LA Kings acquire unsigned draft rights to goaltender Eric Portillo from the Buffalo Sabres in exchange for a third-round pick in the 2023 Draft. March 1st, the Vegas Golden Knights acquire forward Teddy Bluger from the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for defenseman Peter Delabatore and a third-round pick in the 2024 Draft. San Jose Sharks acquire forward Vladislav Namestnikov from the Tampa Bay Lightning in exchange for forward Michael Eyssimont. Pittsburgh Penguins acquire forward Mikael Granlund from the Nashville Predators in exchange for a second-round pick in the 2023 Draft. The Boston Bruins acquire forward Tyler Bertuzzi from the Detroit Red Wings in exchange for a conditional first-round pick in the 2024 Draft and a fourth-round pick in the 2025 Draft. The Arizona Coyotes acquire forward Jacob Voracek, a 6th-round pick in the 2023 draft from the Columbus Blue Jackets in exchange for John Gillies. March 2nd, the Vegas Golden Knights acquire goaltender Jonathan Quick from the Columbus Blue Jackets in exchange for goaltender Michael Hutchinson and a 7th-round pick in the 2025 draft. Chicago Blackhawks acquire forward Anders Bjork from the Buffalo Sabres in exchange for future considerations. The Edmonton Oilers acquire forward Nick Bukestad and defenseman Camden Heen from the Arizona Coyotes in exchange for defenseman Michael Kesselring and a 3rd-round pick in the 2023 draft. The Anaheim Ducks acquire forward Dylan Sakura from the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for forward Maxime Golod. And finally, for March 2nd, the Dallas Stars acquire forward Max Domi and goalie Dylan Wells from the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for goalie Anton Khudobin and a 2nd-round pick in the 2025 draft. That's funny because I went to school with a guy named Dylan Wells, but it's not the same guy, obviously. March 3rd, the St. Louis Blues acquire forward Jacob Vrana from the Detroit Red Wings in exchange for forward Dylan McLaughlin and a 7th-round pick in the 2025 draft. New Jersey Devils acquire forward Curtis Lazar from the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for a 4th-round pick in the 2024 draft. Philadelphia Flyers acquire forward Brendan Lemieux, 5th-round pick in the 2024 NHL draft from Los Angeles Kings in exchange for forward Zach McEwen. Wasn't Lemieux the guy who had like a bunch of controversy around him? I can't really remember. The LA Kings acquire forward Nate Schnarr from the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for defenseman Frederick Allard. Pittsburgh Penguins acquire forward Nick Bonino from the San Jose Sharks in a 3-team trade that also include the Montreal Canadiens. San Jose acquires unsigned draft choice defenseman Arvid Henriksen, a conditional 5th-round pick in the 2024 draft, and a 7th-round pick in the 2023 draft from Pittsburgh. Canadiens acquired defenseman Tony Sund and a 5th-round pick in the 2024 draft from San Jose. How is this still going? Winnipeg Jets acquired forward Vladislav Nemesnikov from the San Jose Sharks and changed for a 4th-round pick in the 2025 draft. Wasn't he traded like 3 times so far? That's kinda crazy. Anaheim Ducks acquired defenseman Chase Brisky from the Buffalo Sabres in exchange for defenseman Austin Strand. Dallas Stars acquire forward Scott Reedy from the San Jose Sharks in exchange for Jacob Peterson. Calgary Flames acquire forward Dryden Hunt from the Toronto Maple Leafs in exchange for forward Radim Zohorna. Buffalo Sabres acquire forward Jordan Greenway from the Minnesota Wild in exchange for a 2nd-round pick in the 2023 NHL draft and a 5th-round pick in the 2024 NHL draft. Minnesota Wild acquire forward Oscar Sundqvist from the Detroit Red Wings in exchange for a 4th-round pick in the 2023 draft. Ottawa Senators acquire forward Patrick Brown from the Philadelphia Flyers in exchange for a 6th-round pick in the 2023 draft. Pittsburgh Penguins acquired defenseman Dmitry Kulikov from the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for forward Brock McGinn and a 3rd-round pick in the 2024 draft. Colorado Avalanche acquired forward Gustav Rydal from the New York Rangers in exchange for forward Anton Blid. Nashville Predators acquired forward Rasmus Asplund from the Buffalo Sabres in exchange for a 7th-round pick in the 2025 draft. Chicago Blackhawks acquire forward Austin Wagner from the Los Angeles Kings in exchange for future considerations. New York Rangers acquired defenseman Wyatt Kalinick from the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for future considerations. The Calgary Flames acquired defenseman Troy Stetcher and forward Nick Ritchie from the Arizona Coyotes in exchange for defenseman Connor Mackey and forward Brett Ritchie. So I got both of the Ritchies, that's pretty funny. And finally, thankfully, the Minnesota Wild acquire defenseman John Klingberg for the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for defenseman Andre Suster, rights to forward Nikita Nesterenko, and a 4th-round pick in the 2025 NHL draft. Okay. Now, let's look at the winners and losers here. NHL trade deadline winners and losers for 2023. Now, first off, I'm just gonna say my prediction is that the Eastern Conference is the big winner of this deadline. I feel like no team in the West really made moves that put themselves on a cup-winning level. I think that no matter what happens, the Eastern Conference is winning the Stanley Cup this year. Colorado, I don't care about Colorado. They're not good enough to win. It's going to be the Rangers, the Bruins, maybe the Devils, but I think it's either 100% going to be either the Bruins or the Rangers. I don't think anybody else has a shot. This says that the winner's the Boston Bruins. The Bruins are the fastest team in NHL history to amass 100 points in a season. They're the best defensive team and second best offensive team in the league. A veritable steamroller that could flatten everyone on their way to the Stanley Cup. So what they do, they got better. The Dmitry Orlov joke's been flying since the Bruins acquired Dmitry Orlov from the Washington Capitals. Giving them a physical veteran puck mover is already making a difference. Arriving with them was Garnet Hathaway, a banger for the bottom six other teams had coveted. Not content with that, after losing Taylor Hall to injury on the left wing, Boston acquired Tyler Bertuzzi from the Red Wings, which just adds another playmaker to the mix. The Bruins' moment is now, and they're not going to squander it, but that doesn't mean they can't think about the future too. The Bruins end the drama and signed star winger David Pastrnak to an 8-year contract extension worth $11.25 million annually. The hometown discounts might be over in Boston, but it's not a clear path that out of the Patrice Bergeron era ends. The thing about Boston is it feels like they're always good, regardless of what they do. Like, they can trade everybody, they can have complete roster overhaul, but for some reason they just always are a top 5, top 10 team. It doesn't really make sense, but it's crazy. Loser Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh Penguins aren't getting any younger. No, seriously, Pittsburgh was already the NHL's oldest team before Friday's deadline. Then Jim Ron-Hextall targeted Mikhail Granlund, 31, Dmitry Kulikov, 32, and Nick Bonino, 34, to boost the Penguins' precarious hopes for a long playoff run. It's a great story to have Bonino back in the mix. He won back-to-back Stanley Cups at Pittsburgh in 2016, 2017, but Bonino is not the same player he was then. While he's capable of adding a defensive punch for the Penguins up front, that might not be enough to truly address their lack of depth scoring. Okay, winner New Jersey Devils. Timo Meyer's everything GM Tom Fitzgerald was chasing. He's the goal-scoring winger the roster lacked, a potential boon to the power play, which ranks 17th in the NHL. He's the physical presence the team needed in its top 6. He brings scars from both season rivalry wars while the San Jose Sharks. Why would the San Jose Sharks helping with the Devils' lack of playoff experience? There's some riskier given that Meyer arrives without a contract extension in place and a $10 million qualifying offer is restricted free agent due to this summer. Though Fitzgerald believes Meyer could be convinced to commit to Jersey, but the Devils acquired the most impactful winger in the trade market without giving up any of their true blue-chip assets such as Luke Hughes, Simon Nemec, Alexander Holtz, Dawson Mercer. Loser Anaheim Ducks. Part of the conversation around teams in bottom standings is how they could use their assets to add draft capital. Signing the Blackhawks, Blue Jackets, Coyotes, and Sharks are able to do this deadline. Or those middle-tier teams such as the Blues and Predators also had significant draft capital. The Ducks, however, were not one of those teams. It appeared as if this deadline was a chance for the Ducks to make the most of their current situation. They had pending UFA defensemen such as John Klingberg, Dmitry Kulikov, and Kevin Shattenkirk could be moved, while the second-line center market made Adam Henrique an attractive option for teams seeking help down the middle. Klingberg was moved in nearly the last minute and brought back a 2025 fourth-round pick, a minor league defenseman, and a prospect forward. The return for Kulikov brought back forward Brock McGinn, a 2024 third-round pick. Shattenkirk stayed to the team, whereas Henrique, going to injured reserve prior to the deadline, appears to have altered whatever the Ducks could have received for his services. What might be the most damning aspect of all is that the Ducks did not make a trade until the last day of the deadline. They're still none to win the draft lottery, and they still have promising young talents in Jamie Drysdale, Troy Terry, and Trevor Seacrest really the next wave. They also have 9 picks ahead of this year's draft. It's just that the teams they are competing against to get back to contention via this year's draft have more picks. The Blackhawks have 11, the Coyotes have 11, the Sharks have 12, and then the Ducks have 9. Winner Patrick Kane and the New York York Rangers. Let's be honest, Patrick Kane also always controlled his own destiny. No movement clauses will do that. But Kane really seemed to manifest becoming a New York Ranger. In a league of players often prioritize staying tight-lipped, Kane was outspoken about his disappointment that the Rangers targeted Vladimir Tarasenko at the trade deadline. Such a move would conceivably leave no room for Kane to come on board, and there didn't seem to be another team the longtime Chicago Blackhawk wanted to join. Well, fast forward a few weeks and it's showtime on Broadway. Strange as it was to see Kane donning colors are in the Blackhawks red and black. The pairing of player and club just made sense. Kane was reunited with his former Chicago line mate Artemi Panarin, went from a team with zero playoff chance to one that could easily compete for a Stanley Cup championship even before he got there. Let's see. I'm just gonna be looking for this. Anything else that really stands out to me? Let's look at this other one I found. NHL trade deadline winners and losers. Winners, New York Rangers. Let's see, there's no doubt that the Rangers are the biggest winner of the 2023 draft deadline. Rangers are able to acquire 2 stars more Patrick Kane and Vladimir Tarasenko to really improve their top 6 forward group. Really, I actually want to see. I want to look up what people thought about that Tarasenko trade. I'm going to look at some comments on that and see if I can find out why he was able to be acquired so cheap. Especially because St. Louis retained 50% cap hit. Let's see if I can see anything. Yeah, I'm not sure. These people say it's a win-win. Tarasenko had a no-trade clause, also had bad blood with the organization. No way he was going to re-sign. Yeah, okay. I guess if there's bad blood, I wasn't aware of that. That's interesting. Jacob Chychrun. Defenseman Jacob Chychrun has been mentioned in trade talks for quite some time. His patience finally paid off. On Wednesday, the Arizona Coyotes traded Chychrun for 2023 first-round pick, 2024. It was reported the franchise seeing upwards of 3 first-round picks and a roster player for Chychrun in the months leading up to the deadline. Still, it's a very solid return for a Coyotes team. It's obviously in rebuild mode. Okay, Toronto Maple Leafs. The narrative has been the same for the last several years when it comes to Maple Leafs. This is a team that just can't seem to make it out of the opening round of the postseason. However, Maple Leafs GM Kyle Dubas made a splash in a big way prior to the deadline. Biggest acquisition was Toronto going out and landing Ryan O'Reilly. O'Reilly registered a hat-trick in just his 3rd game with his new team last week. It's proved to be a nice fit for Toronto's 3rd line. Maple Leafs also got some help in their blue line addition of Jake McCabe and Luke Shen. 2 defenders prior to boosting that already allows the 4th fewest goals per game in the league. O'Reilly's a true difference maker. Losers, the San Jose Sharks. Sharks got a solid offer for Timo Meyer's services. You may be wondering how their trade deadline performance would classify as a losing effort. It's because San Jose missed out on an opportunity to deal defenseman Erik Karlsson. That's true. It's true that Erik Karlsson isn't an expiring contract. He signed through the 2027-28 season. Erik Karlsson's having a career year as he leads all NHL defensemen in points, goals, and assists. Yes, his $11.5 million cap hit does make facilitating a deal a tad more difficult, but it's highly likely that something could have been worked out with another team. Yeah, I can see that. They probably should have. The Philadelphia Flyers have had a calendar year to forgetting teams to get worse. During the offseason, the Flyers were able to sign Starlinger, New Jersey native Johnny Gaudreau to a big contract in free agency because the team didn't have too many bad contracts in the past. General manager Chuck Fletcher went out and acquired defenseman Tony Danza of Carolina Hurricanes for trio draft picks and is paying him $5 million per season. The trade deadline came and went with the Flyers making some lackluster moves. Thus, so the deadline for James news Van Riemsdyk was still on the Flyers roster. Van Riemsdyk is slated to become an unrestricted free agent this summer, so it's shocking that he wasn't moved for even a late-round draft pick. His $7 million cap hit certainly wasn't a major selling point, but a team like the Seattle Kraken or Vegas Golden Knights could have used a veteran forward like Van Riemsdyk and had money to burn. That was one thing. I was kind of shocked that he wasn't moved, because everyone was basically like guaranteeing that he would be moved, and it just never happened. And then yeah, this is kind of like what I said. Western Conference is a big loser here in this. In the weeks leading up to the trade deadline, it was an arms race of sorts in the Eastern Conference against the New York Islanders acquiring Bo Horvat, New York Rangers had Vladimir Tarasenko, Patrick Kane, New Jersey Devils Timo Meier. If you look at the Eastern Conference standings, there's the Bruins, Rangers, Devils, and Maple Leafs looking to make a run at reaching the Stanley Cup final. Oh, let's not forget about the Tampa Bay Lightning, who have reached the Stanley Cup final in each of the past 3 seasons. The East is absolutely loaded. On the other hand, the West isn't quite as top heavy, and that's why I'm classifying the entire Western Conference as a loser here. The Western Conference is wide open. Sure, the Dallas Stars, Vegas Golden Knights, Seattle Kraken, and Minnesota Wild have had strong seasons, but none of those teams really separate themselves from the rest of the pack. Those teams had a chance to create some separation at the deadline, just didn't do so. Yeah, I agree. That's like what I said. I think I don't see any Western team winning a cup this year. I just don't see it, personally, at all. Let's look. I'm gonna pull up now some sports betting odds on who's gonna win the Stanley Cup. This is crazy to me. I actually can't believe this is real. But here's the current odds. They have the Boston Bruins in first, which, okay. But then Colorado at 2. Like I said, I think Colorado has 0 shot. 0 shot. Carolina at 3. Toronto at 4. The Rangers at 5. Honestly, put the Rangers at 2. I'd go Bruins, Rangers. Then maybe the Bruins, Rangers, then give me the Hurricanes, then maybe the Leafs aren't going to win it even if they're good. Put Tampa Bay higher. But yeah, I mean, that's crazy to me. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Sorry for the last minute schedule change, but that's just how I'm going to do it from now on. I know some of you asked for more NCAA March Madness Legacy. I'm going to get that out sometime this week. I have to have another Hogwarts Legacy out sometime this week. We have the Honolulu Breeze sometime this week. So it's going to be crazy. And plus we have the new season of Fortnite to talk about. So this is going to be like an entire week of gaming content beyond this. And I know some of you guys aren't about that, but I just have like too many obligations at this point to like not load this week up with gaming content. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought about this trade deadline, what your team did or didn't do. Do you think they got better? Do you think, they got worse maybe? What do you think about the Stanley Cup odds now? Who's going to win it all? Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content just like this almost every single day. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye.